Hi guys, this is SNOOZE.T, channel about UFOs, UAPs. I will bring you stories, news, the background. My name is Alex, my accent is Czech, and behind me is a German castle. Okay, let's get into it. Were Foo Fighters natural phenomena or first modern UFO sightings? I knew the term Foo Fighters from most of my life, thanks to Dave Grohl's band. But for a long time, I had no idea there was more to the name. Well, it turns out Dave Grohl did his UFO reading much earlier than I did. The name Foo Fighter was coined by the American 415th Night Fighter Squadron during World War II. The name was allegedly borrowed from a popular cartoon of the time. The UFOs were officially reported both in Europe and the Pacific by British RAF pilots and the United States Air Force. US and British intelligence agencies also investigated the phenomena with inconclusive results. However, the reports were taken seriously by the military out of a fear that the adversary possessed some new wonder weapon. The pilot reports, as usual, were consistent with the modern era reports. Objects flying, informations, pulsating lights, speeds and maneuvers defying our understanding of physics. No signs of hostility. The 415th Squadron, which I mentioned earlier, flying British-made Beaufighter aircraft, left us a treasure trove of data. The reports are businesslike, talking about strafing, attacking vehicles and infrastructure, and then the bogies would be mentioned quite casually in between. Here is an example of one of the reports, starting with the regular stuff. About 1900, near river at Bristol, strafed but had to leave due to accurate tank gun. Then the pilot just mentions the bogies, matter-of-factly. About 1910, between Rastatt and Bischwiller, encountered lights at 3,000 feet. Two sets of them. Turned into them, one went out and the other went straight up 2,000 to 3,000 feet. Then went out. Turned back to base and looked back and saw lights in their original position again. And then he goes on again with the regular stuff. Large explosions near Luneville due to suspected crash of P-47, so on. Here is another report from 415th Squadron. This is a diary dated December 1944. More Foo Fighters were in the air last night. The OST report says, in the vicinity of Hagenau saw two lights coming toward aircraft from ground. After reaching the altitude of the aircraft, they leveled off and flew on the tail of Beaufighter for 2 minutes. And they peeled up and turned away. And there's another one. 8th mission sighted two orange lights. One light sighted at 10,000, the other climbed until it disappeared. The 415th US Air Force Squadron is the most known for the Foo Fighter reports, but the British Royal Air Force pilots made reports in Europe about the bogies as early as 1940. 61 RAF bomber squadron flying Lancaster heavy bomber aircraft performed raid on Turin in northern Italy on night of 28th to 29th November 1942. The bomber crew reported seeing a huge torpedo-shaped object over northern Italy. Here is a report which was filled by the squadron. They believe it to have been 200 to 300 feet in length, and its width is estimated at 1/5 or 1/6 of its length. The speed was estimated at 500 miles per hour and had 4 pairs of red lights spaced at equal distances along its body. These lights did not appear in any way like exhaust flames. No trace was seen. The object kept a level course. According to the report, the crew saw the huge object twice. The first time southwest of Turin at around 11,000 feet, and the second about 5 minutes later as it traveled along a valley in the Alps below the level of the peaks. The peculiar thing about this is the pilot reported that he had seen similar object near Amsterdam about 3 months earlier. These sightings were not confined to Europe only. Similar reports were filed by the pilots of the US Air Force in the Pacific Theater. Following report comes from a crew of a B-24 Liberator aircraft of 7 Bomber Command in the Pacific on the 2nd May 1945. The crew of plane number 616 over Fala Island, Truk Atoll, observed 2 airborne objects at their 11,000 foot altitude, changing from a cherry red to an orange, and to white light, which would die out and then become cherry red again. These objects were out on either wing and not within range of caliber .50 machine guns. Both followed the B-24 through all types of evasive actions. A B-24 took a course for Guam, and one of the pursuers dropped off after accompanying the B-24 for an hour. The other continued to follow, never approaching closer than 1,000 yards and speeding up when the B-24 went through the clouds to emerge on the other side ahead of the B-24. In daylight, it was seen to be bright silver in color. This report was one of many from the Pacific Theater. Seems like the new technology and a formal reporting without fear of ridicule was a good breeding ground for so many filed reports. There was some level of low-level banter and ridicule reporting in the RAF, but across the board, the reports were not ignored, and it seems no hidden agenda was in the place to downplay the sightings. It made sense. After all, if these lights turn out to be potent enemy weapons, consequences would be dire for the war effort and for the aircraft crews. Okay, that's all I have for today. You will find the links and references in the description below as always. Like, subscribe, comment, and next time I will speak about my own UFO journey and about the veteran and controversial figure of UFO research, Dr. Stephen Greer. Peace be with you. This is SNOOZE.T. Let's wake up.